Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1484 AN. Today's date is January 29th, 2018, and the title of the episode is, They Are Getting Ready to Pull the Plug on the Economy. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we are getting some information from Wall Street, of all places, where many of the financial pundits, they're talking about this stock market correction. And some of the bigger banks that are directly connected to the central bank, they're actually foreshadowing a correction coming very, very soon. Now, we know Steve Mnuchin sent out the signal saying that we're working towards a weak dollar. Now, he's a Goldman Sachs boy, and we understand that the Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and the rest, they're all intertwined into the central bank system. And again, they're not going to lose out when the market comes down. They're going to actually make a lot of money because they're going to short the market. They know exactly when it does come down. But what's very interesting about all this, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, they're putting out breadcrumbs saying that the market is ripe for a correction. We see one coming very, very soon. And there's definitely going to be one. There's like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And we'll go through what other individuals have been saying. And they're also talking about the yield curve. If we hit this certain indicator point, that means things are going to start to fall apart. And we're starting to see that already. But if we look at the real economy, and this is the people's economy, I'm not talking about the stock market. And yes, the stock market does play a role in the economy. That is like the flare that goes up into the sky to let everyone know the economy is collapsing. It's done. Because then the corporations at that point can say, whoa, the market came down, things are collapsing. It gives them permission to start laying off people in mass, starting to sell some of their assets, restructuring everything, and this is when everything starts to really fall apart and the domino effect starts to take hold here and things just really get out of hand. But we see already that the retail market is a complete and utter disaster. Toys R Us right now, they won't even release their holiday sales. This is the first time in more than a decade, and we know they're bankrupt, and they're very nervous about releasing these because it's probably absolutely awful. We see the American savings rate, well, it continued in December where it modestly pushed up around 0.4% month on month. But we can see overall, right now, the U.S. savings rate hit a crisis low and credit card debt is at a crisis high. And when we look at the overall savings of the American people, we're at the lowest level since September of 2005. We are now even below that point of 2008, 9, 10 coming out of the financial crisis, which tells us there is definitely something wrong here. Now, what we're seeing is that things are coming down around some of the bankers, and I believe they're doing this to say, yeah, these are the people that have been manipulating gold, but everything else is absolutely fine. There's no other problems. Because as we can see over the many, many years, people have been reporting it. GAN has been out there, and they're saying that, yes, the precious metal market has been manipulated by paper contracts and things like that. And people are starting to dig into this, and what they've come up with is that there are 6 traders who were just arrested for manipulating the gold market. Now, currently or formerly employed by UBS, HSBC, Deutsche Bank, no, JP Morgan was not named. They were not touched. But I think what's happening right now is they're saying, listen, these are the banks and individuals that were manipulating gold. It wasn't JP Morgan Chase. It wasn't Goldman Sachs. It wasn't the central bankers. It wasn't any of these individuals. So basically, they're off the hook. We know HSBC, they were dealing in money laundering. UBS, Deutsche Bank, they've been all fined like $30 million, $15 million. which is absolutely ridiculous because we know that the central bank system, we know that they have been orchestrating the entire manipulation of the precious metals market using the paper contracts to drive the price down, and they're trying to do the same thing with Bitcoin and the crypto markets. They're trying to take control. This is what the central bankers really like. They like control of the market, they like control of the economy, and they like to steer the economy and everything else in the direction they want it to go. Now, we see that the NAFTA talks, well, they're kind of starting to break down. Now, of course, when it all started out, this is going to be great. We're going to renegotiate NAFTA and everything will be fantastic. Actually, what Trump really wanted to do was get rid of it. But, the way the law was passed, you had to go through Congress, and it wasn't just like flipping a switch like TPP saying, yeah, that's off the drawing board right now. We're not going with the TPP whatsoever. This was a little bit tougher. So he allowed them to go in and to negotiate NAFTA. And lately, Trump has been coming out there saying that, NAFTA, we should just get rid of it. And I think this is where it is all headed. And I think this is where he wants it to go. And I think those behind him, the Patriots, they don't want NAFTA. NAFTA did not help trade here in the United States, didn't bring jobs to the United States. Actually, we lost about 800,000 jobs with NAFTA. And right now we can see that the talks are breaking down. NAFTA countries won't be issuing a joint statement after the Montreal round of talks. And this is a clear sign that negotiations are hardly progressing in a favorable, cooperative manner. And we see that things are really going south now. And this is probably all for the best, that they don't work out, that they can't come up with any type of, negotiation decision on what NAFTA should be. And it'd be better off if we just got rid of it altogether. We see right now there are certain individuals that made predictions about the U.S. bond yields. If they are up above 2.65% or 2.63% or 2.75%. They all have their own predictions. It means that things are going to start breaking down. Now, what's very interesting is Jeff Goodlock, and we mentioned him before, he warned that if the 10-year goes to 2.63%, stocks will be negatively impacted. And we already see that it's around 2.7085. JP Morgan was saying that if it hits 2.75, that's when things start to break down. And we are around that area, and we can see that all these different banking systems, Goldman, Bank of America, JP Morgan, and the rest, they're all saying that we are due for a correction, and it will probably hit in the next 3 months. And we can see right now they are doing this on purpose. I believe what they're trying to do is they're trying to push a correction in the system. They want this. They want the economy to start to come down. They want to turn this towards Trump, to blame him, and I believe they're moving in this direction. And we can see right now they're ready to pull the plug on the economy. We already see the economy starting to break down very, very quickly, and they know this. And I think what Trump wants to do is he wants to take a hold of the narrative and switch it around and actually blame it on the central bank, on the banking system, on this entire system that has been one gigantic illusion from the very, very beginning. We can see already up in Canada, the real estate prices, well, they were the fastest rising in the world. Well, all of a sudden, they are now the fastest declining prices in the world. And we see that prices are coming down very, very quickly there. And we saw this happen here in the United States back prior to 2008, where all of a sudden the prices of homes were going up and up and up. They hit a plateau, and all of a sudden things started to drop very, very rapidly. Traffic started to dry up, and Canada is now seeing the same exact thing. Yes, prices are still high there, but it's dropping dramatically, and this is not a good sign, because this is going to lead to a chain reaction, which is going to start to hit all the different economies around the world. And we can see right now that retail is not doing well, housing is not doing well, and the corporate media is out there they're on the same page of, well, the economy's not doing that well. Housing doesn't look like it's doing that well anymore. And I'm starting to see all these different articles all around now starting to show that the economy's slowing. It's not doing well. And it looks like they're starting to build up to the economy completely coming down. And we can see already from the Wall Street people, this is what they're trying to push right now. Mnuchin with his weak dollar, he was trying to do this. This is a signal to everyone that this system is coming down. And of course, Trump has been pushing the system up and up and up. He has full control over it. He has control over a year. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to push the idea that the economy has come down, and it's because of everything that he's done. You can see what the deep state, the cabal, they're doing right now. They're pushing the propaganda, trying every type of trick, tactic, everything they're trying to do. But once again, they're failing, and the only thing they have left, well, is some type of an event and collapsing the economy. And they know and we know, I should say, the central banks, they have control of pumping in millions and millions of dollars into the stock market. If they turn that off, it doesn't matter what the plunge protection team does. It doesn't matter with all the manipulation with pushing a button. It's going to be very difficult to push this market back up. And the central banks, the bankers, they know this. They know how to bring a system down. And I can see right now that they're becoming very desperate. They're watching what is happening out in the world, and they realize what is happening here in the U.S., and they have their finger on the button. When it gets close to what they think is very damaging to themselves, to others, all within this organization, they are going to hit the button and bring the economy down. No question about it. You can see everything setting up, because if they don't, and they don't control it, the economy is going to come down on its own. The economy is breaking apart. We're already seeing signs in Canada. Things are falling apart there. We see signs here in the United States with retail and everything else. It's a complete and utter disaster. Yes, they can keep the illusion alive. They can tell you everything is great. They can make it look like everything is great. But the proof is in the pudding. It has to do with the people. The people know when things aren't going well. All those people that are going to be losing their jobs in retail, 100,000 people, they know there's a problem, because now they're going to try to find a different job. Corporations that are laying off, they know, those people know how hard it is to get another job, or a job at the same pay or even higher. So everyone realizes what's going on. Trump definitely knows what's going on, and the central bankers definitely know what's going on. Most of the country, they don't even realize what's happening right now, that the economy is on the edge of completely breaking apart and coming down. And when it does, it's going to be pretty bad, depending on how this is done. I mean, if the central bankers do it, they don't care. They're going to bring it hard. It's going to come down fast, and they don't even care how many people get wiped out. It makes no difference to them. They could care less about that. We saw it back in 2008. We saw it back in 1929 and all the other times we had recessions. If Trump gains control of the entire system, brings it down, prepares us for the transition into a new system, it's not going to be as bad. Not as many people are going to be hurt, but there are going to be people that are going to get hurt, because there's no way around that. But what he's trying to do right now, he's trying to set America up so it could survive and transition into a new system, a new currency, a new type of country with manufacturing. Maybe not the manufacturing that we saw, a decade ago or 2 decades ago or 3 decades ago, but we can see that we need to move in a completely different direction. Trade might not be the same. The currency that we have today most likely will not be the same. Things are about to change, just like it did in Russia when they went through their transition. Everything had to come down, and then everything was rebuilt again, and their system changed. The country was ripped apart. Different countries were formed from the one country. It might happen here in the U.S. States might break apart. We don't know as of yet. But we can see we are headed in this direction, and it's a fight to the finish line. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.